Just a real quick reminder from what we discussed in class on, Thursday. God, it's so long ago. Let me see if I can get this thing to move here. I guess not. Anyway, the essay today is on July's people. We had some pretty good talking points that came up on Thursday night. One of them would be the profound disillusionment. I couldn't find a woman and a man, but that image works good, just to sort of we're not getting each other. And Maureen has her mission, and I think that was Eric who said that, to see blacks and whites on an equal footing and to speak as if they were equal as well. Not a big stretch considering both are human, but it doesn't work. And you can kind of contrast the friendship she wants with what happens between her and the villagers, and also between her and July. And I'm sorry I got the wrong pronoun in there, but I'm not going to go back and change it. Didn't sound right when I wrote it either. I was just a little bit knackered. So, should be between her and the villagers because of the preposition, and between her and July. So that would be one, and just chart the conversation where Maureen talks about, the call for social justice on a personal level, not using the word boy, not letting him use the word master, correcting people in public situations when they use either. Basically, and very correctly saying this is nonsense. We're all human beings, but that runs against the brick wall of July and July's, the women in his compound. I almost said July's women, but they're not all his. But anyway, July and the women in his compound who really want very little to do with her. The wall between white and black is well made by the time this reconciliation is wished for, and it just can't happen that quickly. So there's a profound disillusionment there. The next thing, the physical inequality, I think that's part of the sort of basic ground up details of the novel, is to highlight the very spare, bare bones, we call it income inequality, that exists between whites and blacks in South Africa at that time. And the Smales aren't exactly rich, but the poverty that they meet when they go to July's village is quite profound. So kind of get a feeling for that. It really exists in all things, from the structures to what's inside the house, how people bathe, how they go to the bathroom. That wonderful scene where eating pig had people bubbling up as if they were drinking wine and having a feast. Well, that's the high point of stimulation for this village, is having a great feast of a pig they just killed that afternoon. So kind of get the contrast between the high and the low, because that really is at the background too. And the gap cannot be overcome by mere kindness. There's too much anger and bad history. It's kind of like the first prompt here, profound disillusionment. They have nothing between each other. I have a hunch it's almost exactly the same thing. And it's just, but there's kind of a larger theme, is that the colonial occupation of South Africa really was purely about exploitation, kind of like that big dig. Dig, 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 and after all the wealth is gone, leave. And because of that, there was no human relationship between the colonial powers and the people they were exploiting. It was just a matter of saying, you help me make money so I can get rich and leave this country. And maybe that can add to the first one. It sounds like it's about the same thing in some ways. And then the role reversals. I couldn't find anything serious, but I love the little kid pushing his bigger brother. Just how it is kind of comical. July gradually overtakes control, not only by the driving, but giving orders, and also by, in those angry moments with Maureen, basically saying, without saying, I don't have to take it anymore. Speaking back to her, speaking down to her, having enough and storming off. He couldn't do that as their servant housekeeper in Johannesburg, he would have lost his job. But now that he has his own room, his own breathing room, and it is his village, he can storm around as he wants. And there are many ample examples of that. And then it's well worth looking at. I think it really comes to a head when they go to see the chief, because July is basically ordering them around. Stay here, wait here, I'll pick you up there. And the roles have completely reversed. And it's just really kind of it's at the heart of the novel. But they reverse in subtle ways. And really it's more psychologically. July doesn't listen anymore. And then he drives where blacks weren't allowed to drive in Johannesburg. Not his son, Daniel, but whatever close young man he is, takes the gun. So the Smales don't have that gun. And, in Johannesburg, blacks weren't allowed to have guns. So it's just kind of a gradual dispossession of them, so that the key things, the car and the gun, they no longer have. And they're not allowed to have. So it's really kind of a fun and subtle thing. I think that would be worth looking into as well. Hope this gives you just a couple ideas to work for. I know it's kind of on the 11th hour. I'm trying to get a lot of things caught up with here, so I'm sorry I didn't get this to you a few days earlier, but something to think of as you come into the final stretch here. And we'll see you on Tuesday.